Hi there, Ischa here, and welcome back to The Higher Life, where I take concepts that are considered esoteric, new age, spiritual and psychological, and unpack how you can apply these practically to really create a positive effect in your life. And that positive effect, what we're really aiming at, is that you can wake up every morning and feel truly blissful and happy being who you are in the life that you're living right now. There is no impulse to change your life or to fix it or to solve problems. You are simply dancing with the day as it unfolds and brings you all these different ways of showing up as yourself. Different relationships, different trials and tribulations. It's such an exciting thing to be alive when there is no agenda. You don't have to use your creative energy to follow some kind of purposeful, meaningful pathway. And you just get to be alive with it all, dance with it all, and just show up as your most authentic self. It almost feels too simple because it's so foreign when you grow up in the world that we're in now, under this performance progress mindset, where it just always feels like you just need to do a little bit more, add a little bit more, have a little bit more, work on yourself a little bit harder, work on your relationships a little bit harder until you can experience that deep sense of relaxation that is what happiness truly feels like. Not the highs of excitement or the lows of depression or loss, but just easiness. Easiness allows bliss, and bliss allows ecstasy. Just being so at ease that all you feel is joy. So in this episode, what I want to talk about is a phrase that is thrown around a lot, especially after COVID. We are all in this together. Now, what does that mean? We are all in this together, because if you look out at the material world, that is just the physical collective consensus reality that we all share, I would say that you couldn't say this is true. We're not all in it together. We are actually quite divided in our experiences. We are in a world where there are the haves and the have-nots, the people that have access to opportunities, at least materially, and the people who don't. And that's just obvious. We are still stuck in a cycle where this idea that we pursue our own individual personal abundance is okay, even if it's in detriment to a larger whole. And if we look out at the environment, it speaks very clearly to how ineffective this is. If you are just going out seeking your personal comfort, your personal material lifestyle without considering the impact that your choices are having on the larger whole, you will be very indifferent to how our choices, in the material sense at least, can be really diminishing to the health of our whole planet. But at the same time, we feel quite stuck because you hear all this stuff out there about follow your dreams. There's no such thing as scarcity. Everybody has access to abundance. But because we equate abundance often with wealth accumulation, with being prosperous in the material world, there seems to be some sort of missing piece here. Yeah, okay, we can all go out and be abundant. We're all entitled to live a luxurious life. But it doesn't seem like there's enough resources to do that because we're actually running out of fuel. And all these things are such a these words, these concepts are such a beautiful analogy for what's really going on. We misuse our creative energy pursuing this kind of liberation in a material sense. That is, this idea that abundance will create a life that is really a high quality lifestyle, let's put it that way, where you have a big house and you go on holidays and you can do whatever you want and you don't really have to think through your choices because you can always pay for somebody to care for the things that you've accumulated. This is not what it's referring to when we talk about we are all in it together. Now, in COVID, it was referring to the fact that COVID as a virus was spreading through the planet, and in this sense we very much were all in it together. The same with the environmental degradation. However, what became clear in COVID is we're not all experiencing it in the same way. In some parts of the world, the impact was far greater than it was for others. Some people lived in really psychologically distressing situations, and other people had quite a good time being able to kind of take some time off work, take their kids out to play. So there wasn't this sense of we are really all in it together. Yes, we're all in this COVID experience as one species, but there was still a lot of, really obvious inequalities, country to country. What about the poor immigrants who are stuck in countries in hostels or in camps? Or, these people were not even online having, online catch-ups and talking about what was going on for them. They were very much in a prison. So, it's really important for us to challenge those kind of more poetic ways of viewing our material world. In the material world, we are not all in it together in the sense of having the same shared experience of being human. But there are things we absolutely do share, like our inner capacity as human beings to show up to our life in ways that we all share, like compassion, empathy, honesty, wisdom, courage. These inner resourcefulness is something that every single human being has access to, no matter what's going on in their life. However, I'm tangenting. What we want to speak to when we talk about we're all in it together is what we're talking about at the soul level, at the level of our spirits. And this experience, when you really look at it as we're all in together, it offers a level of personal power, access to your personal power that is really unprecedented. So I'm going to take an example of the ones that I love exploring, because the ones I've had to do this work in the most. Let's look at marriage relationships or intimate partnerships or parent and child. In these relationships, we form a bond with someone to create a kind of unit, one would say, in which we are hoping to feel loved, to love and be loved, to feel secure, to feel that we can lean in on this relationship and be open, allowed to be who we really are, to feel extremely vulnerable in our nakedness, and to trust in that relationship not to sabotage us as we do that. Now, if we look out in the material world, again, relationships haven't lived up to that dream. Most of us who have been in intimate relationships or who are raising children or have been the children of parents know that those relationships absolutely do not offer that kind of utopic comfort. We do not have always relationships with people who have our best interests at heart simply because they don't know how to. They're so caught up in their own inner struggles and their own disappointments that they project onto the people that they love around them these disappointments. And if you're being projected upon, you want to defend yourself against that projection. And suddenly that relationship that's supposed to be the one in which you love and be loved becomes hostile, one of conflict, one where you feel like you have to defend yourself. And trust me, the relationships that are most intimate tend to have the most possibility of making you feel really unsafe. Right? We all know that. But we are in it together. What does it mean? We are two souls who are here on this earth, who have become a partnership with this one core intention that we need to learn how to face our own inner patterns that have us acting out in really reactive and unhelpful and immature ways inside relationships. That simple. Every relationship you have has been brought into your life to help you grow stronger. But growing stronger doesn't mean, leaving a relationship because that person isn't treating you the way that you think they should. That getting stronger means maturing psychologically and psychically and emotionally what you believe the purpose of a relationship is. When we're children, we think that our parents should offer us safety and comfort and take care of our every needs, but we quickly learn, even as toddlers, that that's not the case. Sometimes our parents don't have the capability for that, and we have to do that for ourselves, often in a very unskilled, immature way. But that is how it's been, always. And every generation, the children have become more sophisticated, and parents have become more sophisticated. So we are doing much better than we did 100 and 200 years ago as a species. Our relationships are more sophisticated. The way we show up in our relationships have the capacity to be a lot more sophisticated. Our souls have matured, and now we're getting into the nitty-gritty enmeshment. All relationships, human relationships, are bound by a form of enmeshment where we believe that our own well-being, our own happiness, our own personal power is caught up in what is going on with the person we're in relationship to. Now, of course, when we're children, this is kind of true. If your parents don't take care of you, you are fundamentally impacted by that. You don't have a lot of personal power to really look at what's going on in you and to take responsibility and be accountable for your own reactivity. You kind of need to grow into that as an adult. And if you're lucky enough to have relatively self-aware parents who were doing this inner work, they may have modeled to you how to do that. So you may be a little more advanced. If you're like me, I ended up in a recovery group called Adult Children of Alcoholic and Dysfunctional Families. And, I got to do that work in a therapy environment. It was tough stuff. It was tough for everybody in that group. People had gone through some pretty horrific abusive family situations, but we were all there with a shared agenda to take responsibility for the patterns that had been conditioned into us through those experiences and to not let them then play out in the world and create even more conflict and chaos. But we also recognize that all this is immaturity. The patterns are operating from a place of immaturity, so we need to mature our mindset. And at the Higher Life Academy, I talk about this a lot. As a species, as an intelligence, humanity is evolving out of the progress performance mindset into the potential mindset, or it could be called the compassionate mindset. This is happening whether you are engaging with it at a personal level or not. It means that viewing our purpose of being alive as needing to deliver the best version of ourselves, which is usually a talent or a gift or being recognized by others as being valuable, is dying out. We are maturing out of it simply because we see it's not the best use of our energy. It doesn't make us happy. It doesn't make us experience optimal relationships. It just makes us single-mindedly focused to making sure that we win. That is, that we are seen by others as being exceptional in one way or another, or we bow out completely and completely abandon ourselves and decide that, well, we're never going to play that game anyway, don't care, and we kind of just get by in life. And there's lots of versions of that I'm not going to dive into. But it's rare. It's really, really rare to say, you know what? Aliveness is the greatest gift. I've been given the greatest gift already, and I just simply want to enjoy it. I'm going to show up every day, and if I need to get a job, I'll get a job. If I need to be there for my family, I'll be there for my family. But while I'm doing it, I'm enjoying it. I'm just extracting the beauty of being in this experience with this person. But the only way that you can do that is if you're able to dissolve those patterns of reactivity that have you on the defensive, because you can't actually enjoy being in relationship with people when you expect stuff from them. And we all know that. Family of origin, best one ever. Go spend some time with your family, even if you say you're close. It's really hard sometimes to really enjoy being with people that you love dearly, simply because the level of vulnerability is so high in those relationships, and we feel so sensitive. Our ego or our socially conditioned self is very sensitive to judgment because we've been raised progress, performance mindset in a culture of judgment. So, that idea that we need to judge ourselves continually, improve ourselves, advance ourselves, better ourselves, if we're not doing that, we're really not living up to our potential, is a myth. It's a falsehood. Yes, it does create some excellent athletes and, people who strive for excellence, but you know what? They might have done that anyway. But what it's got us into is a very sick place where excellence seems to be the purpose of our life. And if any failure to do that or deliver that is kind of seen like a waste of life. Whoa, a waste of being alive. I'm contemplating this very deeply in my own life. I'm constantly drawn out into the material world with this. My ego gets very sensitive to the idea that I'm failing in life because I'm not out there, selling this work somewhere or doing this in some sort of way where, it's got some status. I just do it for my own joy, really. And also because I feel a kind of pressure to tap into whatever's going on in my life and to speak to it on video, because I get real insights. I watch the video later, I'm like, wow, I didn't even know that awareness was available in me. So I'm actually developing my relationship to awareness and how awareness becomes perception, and how perception becomes belief, and how belief becomes activity, how we use our energy. That's really my contemplation at the moment. And it's a powerful one. It's had me really, really, really touch into deep primal patterns of insecurity. And it's not easy, but I just get up every day and I stay with it. But what I also do is I go out and walk the dog that I'm fostering at the moment. Not usually a dog person, but having this amazing experience of kind of being forced out. And trust me, I had a little bit of like, oh, you know, I'm not really working on my academy or doing other things that maybe I should be doing. I'm just walking this dog. And I've had the most amazing experiences, just meeting other dog owners, having chats, seeing the sunset, seeing the sunrise, being really hot because I'm in Singapore and I go out in the heat and just experiencing intense heat. I'm just experiencing this sense of being alive, really alive, and active and engaged and intimate, and there's no agenda other than the dog needs a walk. And I'm really feeling a depth of relationship with my daughter that I didn't, wasn't easily accessible before, when I was trying to just be the best parent and give her everything she needs and care and be emotionally available. We've actually formed this amazing bond through the dog who she loves. And it's opened us up into other conversations, so all these things that we're craving in our lives, intimacy, a sense of spontaneity, the ability to really feel our own aliveness, it's often available to us in our ordinary daily lives, our church, as I call it, in the most unremarkable ways. It's really unremarkable, the things that I'm doing, but it's really enriching and simple. And you might say, well, I can't earn money doing that. And you're right. But if you need to earn money and have a job because you want to buy things for yourself and you have families to look after and you're alive doing that, that's what you're alive doing right now. So, be kind to yourself. Own it. Honor the fact that you're willing to do that. You're willing to be there for the people that love you and for yourself, and to go through this experience. And and don't underestimate it. Every single thing that you're doing right now, if you're in a job you hate, if you feel like you're wasting your life, there is absolute wisdom in that experience. That experience is perfect for you right now if you choose to let it be. If you let go of the idea that there's this other life that you should be living that's so much better than the one you're living now, you will actually make space to find the subtlety, the quality of experience of being alive that you are having once you let go of all the judgment and resentment and resistance to the ordinariness and mundanity that you may believe your life holds right now. I'm a big advocate for honoring the ordinary, being truly, in reverence, let's say that, of the mundane. We're also afraid of being bored. But when you die, and I do this a lot, before I go to bed, I think, if I died today, like really died, would I be okay with how I spent my day? And I did this for quite some time, a few years, because I didn't really know what I wanted or needed. And most of the time I spent my days in those days with the kids, and it was hard. I was often feeling like shit because I felt like I couldn't do anything right, and I was tired, and my kids didn't seem to appreciate anything I did anyway, and it was tough days, really tough days. But I was always kind of glad. I was glad, really happy that that's where I'd spent my day, doing these really mundane things, going to the park and stuff, because it just felt right for me. Now, it's not for everyone. Some people will think, I'm really glad that I put my whole heart into that report I wrote today, or that I was able to give that patient a little bit of extra time, or that I went for a run, or, work might be your thing. I think for me, being a mother has been a really, it's been good for my soul. It's helped my soul to develop a lot and evolve in this lifetime. So that's probably why, for me, those mundane moments of being at the park, or just, being in the presence of my children, no matter how hard it was right for me. But if you do that, if you ask every night and you answer honestly, am I okay with the way I spent my day, you'll realize that often it's the little mundane things that matter, and not the big significant milestones that our society would have you believe are important. Nobody really cares at the end of the day if they wrote a book or not, I think. Or, if they got that promotion or things like that. Often those things are just not as valuable as we've been led to believe they are. And you can have them as really valuable, there's no judgment on that. But it's time to get super honest, I think, with ourselves about what value really is. It's a made-up concept. You want to know, are you using your energy correctly? Is this the best use of your energy? Are you able to just take time out and not give a shit about what's happening out there and just be with yourself in your life, honoring the ordinary, mundane aspects of it? And in that, we are all in it together, because we're all struggling with the same, uneasiness that comes from constantly being driven by a performance mindset, constantly relating to people through enmeshment, thinking that there's always an alternative life where we did better, or being glad that we didn't do worse. These things are things that you need to catch. You need to face them and you need to dissolve them. So in this way, everything that we do, everyone that you meet is having the same experience as you. We are all souls on a journey of Dharma to realize our capacity to be happy without agenda, and therefore having to face our karma, those core patterns of enmeshment, of perfectionism, of performance that we all experience. We need to face up to those and dissolve them in our life so that we can be truly free. And in this, we are all in it together. And what a wonderful thing. I don't need to fix you, you don't need to fix me, nothing needs to change. We can actually be okay as things are right now. So I hope this has been helpful. Obviously, if you're in a highly abusive relationship where you're being physically harmed, speak to a professional. I'm really talking at the moment about the more mid-level stuff that we seem to think we need to run away from, that often we can really resolve by simply turning inwards and maturing our perspective on the relationship and on our own capabilities. So if you love this work, absolutely check out the Higher Life Academy, School for Your Soul, where we have some really significant masterclasses and courses that can help you really go through this process of personal transformation and empower your life. So until next time, take care and love life.